Hi, this is DJ with the NLP Institute of Arizona, and I think we should talk about cold, hard cash. Not enough people talk about cold, hard cash. I think it's really important. I think it's a conversation that we should have now, and we should just keep having. If you have a vision of what your life would be like, and what your life will be like when you have plenty of that cold, hard cash. And we're here to talk about a sales technique that's going to ensure that your dreams come true. Whatever kind of dreams you've got, which I'm sure are really important, whether they're getting a new girlfriend or keeping the same one, or whether they're taking care of a relative or starting an animal hospital, doesn't really matter. It all comes down to sales. And with Black Ops sales, that's what we're talking about here.
Yes, we are.
Black Ops, the stealth way to sell. Always effective, never suspected. So here's the way that we're going to do this. We're going to talk to you a little bit about why this is important, because a lot of people get some sales information or even some sales experience, but it's a little bit spotty, it's not consistent, they don't have a full-fledged technique to do it. They're also communicating mostly with people's conscious minds only, and they're not really communicating effectively with the unconscious mind. So we're going to talk about how we communicate with the unconscious mind so that you can become an expert at it. And we'll talk a little bit about what would happen if you became super effective at gaining people's trust, becoming their friend, and planting persuasive ideas right in their unconscious mind. Sort of like having like a sleeper cell activated inside your customer. Yeah. Right. So it's a really, really super effective tool. And I don't recommend just everybody take this on. In fact, if your ideas aren't completely honorable and above board, turn this video off now.
Yeah.
Because that could be. This is Bert Lindsay. He's my co-trainer in this event. This is taking place on March 19th and 20th in Phoenix, Arizona. I hope you can join us. Let's talk a little bit about how this works, Bert.
Okay.
So we're using it in an acronym, right?
Yes, we are.
And that's what, military?
Military terms, yes. Let's start with RAP.
RAP?
RAP.
Yeah. So what is that? That's for reconnaissance and analysis. Power centers.
Power centers.
And don't forget the power centers.
That's right. And package delivery.
That's right. You got to deliver that package, just like the Air Force does when they're bombing a city. Oh, sorry. We want to talk about how effective this really is. Do we want to talk about that right now?
Yeah, we do. It's better to have revenue coming in the door.
That's absolutely correct. Having revenue come in the door is always better than what you were doing before.
Yeah.
So these are all new ways to ensure that you get loyalty and trust in your customers, and that this stuff is done.
Does that include getting them to make referrals for you?
Often they made referrals for you, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Absolutely. So yeah, Bert runs works with a chiropractic clinic here in town that does nothing but referrals.
That's it. No advertising whatsoever.
And I pretty much give you credit for all the sales that they do. So
okay.
it's just the way it is.
Well, I keep it on under the table so they, when I'm paying too much attention to that.
Well, that's the thing about Black Ops sales. It's very stealth.
Yeah.
It's never suspected. People don't even suspect that you're putting the ideas to buy in their mind, although that's exactly what you're doing.
That's exactly right.
And that's why that's a really effective way, because you build instant trust.
Mm-hmm.
They communicate with you as though you're an old family member, an old friend, or whatever.
And they'll bring customers to you.
Because they had such a great experience.
Yeah.
Because really what they're doing is they're just opening up to an old friend.
Yeah.
They don't have any idea that some of the language patterns that you might be using, and you might be using language patterns right now, mightn't you?
Might, yeah. Even if you don't know. Usually people are using language patterns even if they don't know.
Yep.
So it's best to know what you're doing.
Because a lot of times people just use these language patterns and they do them unintentionally, and they might be saying things that actually push people away from a sale,
right,
or push people away from the idea of doing what's in their own best interest. But this is a way of learning how to use these language patterns in the most effective ways. So we do this by stimulating their unconscious mind by first paying attention. Right. That's the R, which is for reconnaissance. Yeah, and so reconnaissance in the military is about going out to gather information.
Yes.
Right. So we're going to gather information about the customer or potential customer.
Then we have to analyze the information that we get.
Right. Yeah. Analysis is critical, obviously, in the military. You wouldn't want to be putting your ordnance or, say, your package delivery in the wrong location. You want to make sure that you're getting it exactly where you want it to go.
So you get the response that you want, which is a sale at this time.
What if you could do this with everybody that you talk to? Let's talk a little bit more about what you could be super duper effective in the most stealth manner at every time you had a conversation, every time you had a persuasive conversation. I think all conversations are persuasive, don't
Yes,
you?
they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Hard to talk to somebody without persuading them in some manner. So the next thing that we talk about, though, is the power centers. The power centers are really interesting and very critical, of course, if you were in someone else's territory and you happen to be there in a stealth way and you just look like the common folk that were running around. You might map out where their energy centers are. You might map out where their power grid is, their intelligence centers, right?
The logistics and how they move things around.
Right. When we're doing this with people, a lot of times we're looking for whatever sort of a thing is going on in their mind that has a lot of links to it. Like, what do they get excited about? What is it that they really want out of life? What sort of things turn them on?
Right. What is the most important thing in their desires that really is what they really want? It's like they may want money, but what do they want the money for? Or what do they want the product for? Well, what is it that drives them to buy the product?
Well, and you know, for years, in fact, going back to what Dale Carnegie in How to Win Friends and Influence People, talked about what people's favorite subject is. And their favorite subject is usually what?
Themselves.
Absolutely. So when you're turning on your reconnaissance equipment, which is basically your sensors, your hearing, your sight, your ability to pay attention, and then you're looking for their to analyze what they're doing, you're looking at kind of what the processes they use to think and communicate with, that sort of thing.
And that leads us
to the power centers, which where we just were. When you're in the power centers, you're looking for the actual key nodes of what's going on. And the reason that you're doing this is so you can do what?
To find out what will get the close.
And make more sales.
To make more sales.
Because regardless of what you want in life, you have to make more sales in order to get there, right?
That's right.
If you were happy making the sales that you're making now, you wouldn't have any need to do anything different. But because you are here watching this, it's safe to assume that you want to improve. And we're all about improving.
So how do we deliver the package?
Well, package delivery is really the key to the whole thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Once you've gotten all the information, you've figured out how they think, what sort of patterns they run, and what their power centers are, what really moves and motivates them, then you're on to getting your message across in a way that is very stealth and very effective. Remember, Black Ops sales is always effective, never suspected. That's right.